it was like nobody was understanding me. Cause some people thought it was postpartum. Who do I even talk to? Who do I communicate? I couldn't even communicate with my husband. It was like an alien because it was telling me it's going to be okay. What is going to be okay? And then it was a lot for me to take in.
Hello and welcome to Special Moms Africa, the podcast. Real talk on special needs parenting. Of course, my name is Tonye Falogi Ekezie, and I'm your lead host on today's episode. I am in the studio with some very troublesome ladies. Yes. Obafeyi Kemi Luther.
Vulnerability and sensual queen.
Mama. Wow. And Yemisi Fajimolu Taiwo.
Hello. How are you?
Actress extraordinaire.
We try.
So today we're looking at community and how it's crucial when you have a special needs child. We meet an amazing parent advocate who is using her experience as a special needs mom to directly impact and help other families. Yeah, so let's get stuck into it. Momsbelief.com says, feelings of isolation among parents of special needs children are common. They often feel alienated from their families and their communities because they barely have time for social obligations like dinners and family get-togethers. Most of their time is spent in therapy and taking care of their child. Who can better understand this experience except for other parents of children with special needs? Support groups remind you that you are not alone and that there are other families like yours out there. In my own experience, support groups and communities are a treasure trove of information. For example, finding out about good schools, doctors, therapists, and more. They are a safe arena to vent. I sure do a lot of venting. Share ideas, and are often a great tool to push and create advocacy. I personally have made lifelong friends through the special needs community. One of these friends is our guest today, and we meet her right after this break. Stay tuned. I'm Tonye Falogi Ekezie. If you're enjoying this episode of Special Moms Africa, brought to you by Simone's Oasis and Africa Business Radio, then why not listen to our other podcast, Represented, Storybooks and More for African Kids. Now, don't forget to subscribe, put on your notifications, and share with loads of people out there. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. So let's meet our guest, Mrs. Solape Azazi. Say a quick hi before I tell them about you. Let them hear your voice.
Hello.
You can see this. So she's fine, oh. She's fine, oh. You should see her, oh. She's fine.
Every day with the outfit. Oh my goodness. I'm just like, oh, check
the
you
shoes.
out.
Her shoes.
Know.
Like
the shoes
we'll get into these shoes. You should have seen the shoes the other day. They were like 6 inches. I was surprised she could walk.
Dude, she's wearing Crocs today, and they're like
no,
so blinged up.
She's got
I
she
have
has
a pair
her
of
heels
Crocs
in her bag.
I have a pair of Crocs.
Anyway. So Mrs. Solape Azazi is the executive director and founder of Cradle Lounge Special Needs Initiative, a non-governmental organization set up to advocate and empower caregivers of individuals with autism and other related special needs with tools required to provide an improved quality of life to these individuals. Cradle Lounge Special Needs Initiatives also provides a smart play approach to improving social play and interaction of individuals living with autism and their siblings through structured play, arts, and group language therapy. She is extensively experienced in HR generalist affairs with expertise in employee relations as well as overall management skills, including staff management and project leadership. She's a wife, and a mother of 2 boys, one of who was diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, at the age of 3. Welcome, Solape.
Thank you so much, Toyin. That's such a mouthful.
Hey, well, you are doing the most. You are doing the most. I had to really focus on saying everything correctly.
Thank you.
So, tell us about your special needs journey, how it started, how you got your diagnosis, and what your son's diagnosis exactly means for you.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. So, let's start with...
At the beginning.
Okay. When did I get the diagnosis? My son, age 10, walked at the right time. Maybe age 10 months. Sorry, not 10 years. I mean, it's okay. No, I'm about to start crying.
Already?
Already? It's good. It's good.
Join me. We're ready.
No.
Be free.
We are one.
There's tissue somewhere.
No.
We are here for you.
I mean, I actually said that was not what I was coming here to do.
Oh, you are sorely mistaken. Yes, you are sorely mistaken. It is well.
Okay, let's start from the beginning now.
Oh, not it is well. I'm not using that word again.
Yeah,
not it is well. No.
Cry!
I don't know what's wrong with these women. I beg, allow Solape to tell her story.
Okay.
Start from the beginning.
We don't do it as well.
So, at 15 months, my son was still, developing rights and all of that. And then between 15 months, 18 months, the words decreased. But we didn't take too much note of that because, nobody really does take note of those things when it's your first child and you've heard your child say mama, dada, all those regular stuff. So you don't really pay attention. And then I think 18 months to 20 months, we noticed that he went mute.
Completely.
Yeah. First, it was the words first reduced, and then we didn't hear anything at all. And I remember that it wasn't even me that noticed that he wasn't saying anything. I think it was my sister-in-law that said, have you noticed that this boy hasn't said anything since? And then I now sat down to start paying attention to it. And I realized that indeed he hasn't said anything. And I became worried. And of course we then now saw his pediatrician and, I think, before we did see him at some point, but I can't remember whether it was before 20 months or I can't remember when. But I do know that, goodness, breathe.
It is
okay. Cry.
Okay, so he went mute. And when he started talking again, it was baby babble. And I was shocked because this is a child that I have his milestone videos of him going up and down the stairs, of him calling dada, mama, and I want to get down. I want to get down, like if he wants to get down from the stairs. I have videos, like loads of videos. And then he became, ooh, ha, ha, ha. And I think I was actually pregnant then, and I was almost close to delivery. And at that point, my focus was just, let's have this baby. And whatever is coming, we'll deal with it, I don't know what this is, but before that time, I've had autism and, the back of my mind, I'm like, this happens to some people, Sha. I don't know what that is. And so we saw a doctor, and then his doctor then now said, oh, I think I might have to tell you, but we're going to have to flag him down for autism. I was like, okay, breathe. That's not the end of the world. What does it mean? And then I started reading, and of course, Google is just the worst place to go to. And so you start to read, and then you start to read the negatives, and then the negatives were just slamming me down, and and then this is a family that is a big family, a very big family that kind of family that when you get married, the first year you are already pregnant, the first year you already have a child, those kind of things, like children all over. And I'm like, I've never heard, why is it me coming into this family and then the first child is autistic, so it was just, and then I just had a baby. I was spiraling down and having so much in my mind, and it was like nobody was understanding me. 'Cause some people thought it was postpartum. I'm like, it's not even postpartum. I can't even, who do I even talk to? Who do I communicate? I couldn't even communicate with my husband. It was like an alien, because it was telling me it's going to be okay. What is going to be okay? Do you understand what they're saying that is wrong, And then it was a lot for me to take in. And before I knew it, spiraled through depression, the why me, it has to be me, all of that negativity. I mean, this is someone, you should have seen me. You should have seen me before. And then during that period, I was a mess. This is someone that was like, oh, all that. And then suddenly someone tells you, girl, this is the result of, autism. It means this, it means that, negative this, negative that, I'm like, not even knowing where to turn, confusion. And then because the family didn't know how to support, and
because you were very much internalizing everything.
Yes.
So it would have been hard for them to help you also, because you're wondering why this is happening. You're dealing with a newborn baby as well.
Yes.
So your mind is racing like 1 trillion miles per hour. You don't even have time to talk about it, even if you want, you don't have time to even talk about it. So someone will even be scared to approach you because they don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then, this is me with OCD. Because I was Miss Perfectionist. My friends used to call me Bree from Desperate Housewife. That Bree from Desperate Housewife that likes, everything has to be lined properly, everything has to fit perfectly. And then suddenly I'm faced with just some suddenness, and I cannot place it, I cannot problem solve it, I can't walk through it. It was just, I was lost because I just didn't know where to turn. And I remember watching my children grow around me, and everything was just, I was in my own bubble, my own world, basically. And I think what snapped me out of it was one day I realized that my second son was already 6 months. And I couldn't really remember living through the 6 months.
Yep, makes sense.
I couldn't remember because I was in a shell of myself. It was like I was living, but I was not present. I was not there.
An out-of-body experience.
Yes.
Yep.
And then the next thing I look is already 6 months, and then
just gone like that.
Yes, just gone like that. And then at that point I said to myself, it's time to start finding a solution to this, because this is not life. This is not living. This is not, I'm not sleeping. Sometimes I'm averaging like maybe 1-2 hours a night.
Wow.
I wasn't sleeping. I just felt like I wasn't giving the very best to the children and the family. And then at that point, my husband is my best friend. And imagine both of us not even on the same frequency. Because it was like, if he says good, I'm like having to check outside. Do you say good morning? I'm like trying to see, is it really morning or night? Or, we're like saying opposite things to each other. That kind of thing. And that was not what I set out for my life. And so I took a step back and started it all over again. And I was like, okay, so this is the diagnosis. So we are not going to look at negatives anymore. We're going to look at positives. Where is the positive in all of this Google research? And then, yes, because I went there first. So I felt like I needed to go back there to go and find what would help. And I did see that there were a lot of success stories, and I did start to read about how it became success stories.
It's not magic.
Yes, because of the effort you put in. You cannot have a success story if you do not put that effort in. And so I decided to be well for myself first, get myself out of depression. I mean, it wasn't like a very easy task. I had to recenter myself. I'm a Christian. I had to rediscover my God in my own way.
Amen.
Yeah. And then started my journey from there, healing myself and then healing my children.
So on that point, how did you go back? I love the fact that you said healing myself,
That's what I was
then healing my children, because we're useless if we don't take care of ourselves.
absolutely.
So what did you do and how did you do it? How did you even find that strength to heal yourself and then go on to heal your children?
Support.
Who gave you support?
I had to identify what I needed to get well. Because you first have to label what is wrong. Mm-hmm. I struggle with when people say, oh, I don't like to put a label to it. I don't like to put a label to it. But you see, if you have maybe some sort of disease, but you cannot
diagnose it. How can you find a solution?
Know what to do. Mm-hmm. So first you need to first identify what it is. And I realized what I'm dealing with is depression. What is causing my depression? My lack of faith in myself, my feeling I'm not enough, my feeling empty, my feeling incompetent, my feeling it's my fault, And so I had to then now rediscover, like I said, I'm a Christian. I had to rediscover what the truth is about myself, that I am enough. Mm-hmm. And I have that strength is within me. If only I would believe
in yourself.
And when I did that, I became stronger. And then I realized that I have to be in the right setting to be able to maintain this wellness. And so how do I get it? Being a Christian doesn't mean that you have to be in church all the time. That's not what I do.
Right.
So I had to look for people that had the same ideas as myself and are doing the same thing. You have children on the spectrum, you have special needs children, but how are you thriving with your faith? Because in all of this, my faith was what lifted me from depression.
Yep.
So I don't want to leave it behind and then look for something else. So I held on to that and looked for people with that faith and have children with some form of disability and are thriving. And those were the people I leaned on for support. And I continue to lean on whenever I need help.
So how did you find a way to support both your children? Because we can't forget about the sibling who is neurotypical as well, because they would have been directly affected as well. So how did you support both of them?
First, you have to understand that they are both different. So for me, I try to look at each of them as their individual people. So I would not say because I'm giving one person. So now let's take it all the way back. I do a lot of differentiation in my house. I do differentiation. I do even if I'm going to give this person, I know he's not going to finish this food and I know he doesn't like this food. It does not mean that I would force it on another person. That I won't do that. Because that's not do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's what. So I try to find out what each person is about, and I meet each person at their point of need.
As unique individuals.
Unique individuals.
That's amazing. So, I didn't even look at the time. We're fast-paced moving. Can you tell us about Cradle Lounge?
Cradle Lounge. That's
your baby.
My baby. Yes, so I started off Cradle Lounge in 2019. It started off just this art and craft place, and I started it off because of my son who likes art and craft. He's very into paintings and doing all this stuff, and I felt like I could bring an art instructor in, and then have other children come in and paint together with him. And so it was just like...
And when you say other children, both special needs and neurotypical.
So I realized that midterm comes and I have something sorted out for his younger brother, but I don't have something sorted out for him. So I decided one midterm, I sent a notice to school to some of his classmates' mom that, this midterm, I'm going to have 2 days in my house. I'm going to have an instructor in, bring your children and we'll paint, we'll play, we'll this and that and that. And then just so that I can create friends for my son. They're in his class. They need to know him. They need to know how to play with him, to understand him. Because I felt like, okay, he goes to school with you, but do you understand him? Let me see how your interaction with him is. I mean, is he isolated in class? So I had a few moms that I could talk to. So they said, no problem. And then they brought their children and they had fun in my backyard, painting for 2 days. And I'm like, wow, nice.
And that's what gave you the idea.
Yeah, and I felt like, okay. And then they were like, we didn't know Priya likes to do this. I'm like, yeah, he loves it. We didn't know he likes to. I said, yeah. I said, so now you know what you can do with him. And then they're like, so when he's crying a lot, we can just give him this. I said, absolutely. And they went back to school, and then I think I saw them during pickup, and they were like, Priya's mom. Priya was crying, and then I offered him a crayon, and he drew this. I'm like, nice. And then
lovely.
In my mind, I'm like, okay, I just taught them a way that they can include him, and then they can watch out for him. And I'm like, can I try with more kids?
I don't know if you can hear Obafe Kemi, she's breathing, which means that she's affected.
It's not just the breathing, there are tears. Yeah. Sorry, you actually brought community to life. You found a way to help your child and helping others at the same time. So yes, I'm choked, but I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
So, before we wrap up, what are your plans for Cradle Lounge? How have you taken this thing that just started in your backyard? What's the future for it?
Okay, the future for it is to have a space for children to come together, both neurotypical and children with special needs, to come together and learn together in a play setting, to find out how they can interact together without prejudice, without biases. Just play and interact and emulate and imitate, each other, and just care and just know that I'm different, you're different, but at the end of the day, we can all have fun and learn in that fun.
I really am praying for that, and we'll definitely sign up.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've come to that point in the show, guys. You know what it is, the honest truth, where we ask our guests to share in 1 minute something about their special needs journey that they have never shared with anybody else. They've never said out loud. They've thought it, but never said it. You have 1 minute. Go, Solape.
Okay. For a very, very long time, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and then I would say, should I just end it like this? Yeah. And then if the days that I don't, I'm happy. And then the days I do, I write on my journal. Today is day so and so. I had suicidal thoughts again today. When would this stop?
Thank you so much for sharing that. And if anybody's listened to the podcast, you'd know that all of us here have had exactly those same thoughts. So, Solape, you're not alone. I think, honestly, it's probably every single special needs parent's thoughts at one time. But very few people are willing to share such a deep, deep pain with others, and to be so vulnerable to vocally say it. So we really are so thankful that you would share that, because someone listening, it would help to know that this bubbly person who shared this gung-ho story was so low and has been so low that you would have those thoughts. But you can come out of it. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Now, before we go, we've obviously run out of time. please tell our listeners where they can find you on social media.
Cradle Lounge.
Yeah, that was easy. Cradle Lounge. Just Google on Instagram, Facebook,
Cradle
all those
Lounge
ones. Cradle Lounge.
initiative, actually.
Oh, sorry. Obafe Kemi is giving us school teacher
Helping
stuff.
her. Yes, I can see she's very
Emotional.
So that's Cradle Lounge.
And that's okay. So you can find Cradle Lounge Special Needs Initiative on all social media and on the internet if you have internet. Well, I've been in the studio with my co-host Obafe Kemi Luther and Yemisi Fajumalu Taiwo, who I'm seeing from the corner of my eye eyeing me.
Oh.
And you can, of course, find us, including myself, Tonye Falogi Ekezie, at Special Moms Africa. Join us next time for our final episode of this season. Well, that's it from us, from Special Moms Africa. Real talk on special needs parenting. Until then, see ya!
Bye.
Ciao! Sayonara!
Ciao.
Odabo.
Arigato.
For sponsorship inquiries, you can DM us at Simone's Oasis on social media or send an email to hello@simones-oasis.com.